Hey, welcome back everybody. This is the follow-up video from the draft control. I just remeasured the lot. It's actually closer to a 1/4 acre lot. And I've been tinkering with the rake and draft control, and I can't seem to get anything to work quite right. I did a lot of dragging, manually positioning the 3-point and the rake to pull high spots into low spots and back and forth. But it's still just not as good as I would like it, and I can't seem to get the draft control to go to work any better. And personally, I don't think it works that way. I think it's exactly opposite. So instead, I have this chunk of railroad here that I legally acquired. And right now it's about 28.5 feet long. I'm gonna whack it down to 20 feet. And then I'm gonna weld these 5/8 bolts on there onto the rail side with these loops. And then I'll put a jam nut on top of it because these are actually meant for galvanized. So it's not quite the same. See how it's kind of a loose fit. So anyway, I'll probably weld these right about there, about 5 feet from the end after I whack it down to 20 feet. And I'm hoping, you guys are gonna see with me, we'll figure this one out together. I'm hoping that this can actually do a good job. Now don't get me wrong, this is a pain in the ass to maneuver. Getting it over here with the tractor, I had to zigzag around the yard and everything. I don't really wanna drag it and just botch everything up, botch up the yard and everything. I was able to pick it up. This is what's called 100-pound rail. So for every yard, it's 100 pounds. So 28 feet, what is that? 9 times 3 is 27. So about a little over 900 pounds. It's pretty heavy, and I think it will do a good job. My goal is to have, this edge on the bottom, or whatever side, but one of these edges dragging along the ground, and being 20 feet wide, I'm planning on dragging it at a slight angle too. And we'll get to that here in a few minutes. I've got a setup that I think will work with either the drawbar or a 3-point drawbar. Either one, I haven't decided which one yet. I don't know if one's safer than the other for the tractor. So I'm gonna get to it. First, gonna cut this thing off. I got the oxy torch out and ready. This is the big setup. I hardly ever use this. I actually cut this end off a few years back to help a buddy make an anvil. And it worked out all right. I used my smaller torch setup though, and it really struggled. So we're gonna go with the bigger torch today and see how it works. All right, so last time I did this, cutting the rail chunk up here was by far the hardest part. And now granted, I was using a smaller torch. So I'm gonna cut that first, then cut this side, and then cut the middle out. Hopefully that'll work out all right. I've got boards under the whole thing so it can't go anywhere. Well, it looks like it's through. You gotta wait until it starts glowing red, then you can hit your oxy. Now we'll go from the top down. Okay. Terrible at this, huh? There we go. All right, now let's try to roll it. Not like that, I'm not. This should do it. There we go. Oh yeah, piece of cake. I think that'll do. Run it down till I have enough threads for the jam nut, like that. We'll go a little bit past. It's actually bottomed out already, but we'll go right there, get our jam nut on, Run it all the way down. Now when I back this up, you'll notice the jam nut doesn't move. See? So now they're both tight, no wrench required. All right, so I decided to use the body mounted drawbar. I don't know if there's a right or a wrong way. I'm just thinking myself that this is fixed to the frame. It's not gonna weeble wobble quite as much. These guys, yeah, they're in place with bolts, but I don't want a chance bending these, or I just don't think it's necessary. I think this guy will be more than strong enough. And I put a solid hook on here. That way I can adjust the angle of the dangle, if you will. I'm thinking that I'm gonna mostly be pulling it on an angle, you know, with it kind of slanted. That way it drags dirt to one side versus the other. So that means that side needs to be a little bit shorter. I don't know, it's gonna take probably a couple attempts to get that just right. Everything else is out of the way. All right, here we go. Let's give it a shot. Gonna go nice and slow to start with. Get some tension on it. So far, I'm liking it. I honestly think I need more of an angle. Definitely see the high and low spots. Oh yeah. Super easy to see high and low now. All right, so I want it at a little bit more of an angle. And this is why I put the chain this way. So to angle it more, pop it out of there, put it in the next slot. Yeah, that looks better. Yeah. Now I'm gonna go ahead and, now that I've done 3 laps on the outside, I'm gonna start overlapping my passes by half until I get in the middle. And then I'll change direction. and do it so that I'm scraping stuff towards the outside. And I'm probably going to have to take a rock break. Well, a break from filming and pick up rocks. There's a rock, two big rocks caught next to each chain. Look at that huge gouge it's causing. There it goes. I think I want to get the whole thing passed over at least one full time before I stop and pick up rocks. That way my second time I can do, you know, figure eights or go perpendicular to my first pass. So far, I think it's doing a great job. I'm gonna take a break here to pick up some rocks and then we'll get back at it. Whoo-wee, I hate picking rocks. Man, after an hour picking rocks out here, I'm gonna end NASCAR and begin right-hand circles perpendicular to the field length. So kind of in the middle, you'll see. Here we go. Awfully close to that chain. It's ticking it. There we go. Now am I gonna hit the woods? I don't think so. Okay. That does not work as well. Because it's pulling in the same direction that I'm turning. That is not gonna work. I'm gonna make a wide circle and hopefully cut back through the middle and change directions. So that's good to know. Can't turn in the direction it is angled. I mean, it is right, that chain is right on the tire. Really close anyway. You know, I'm just gonna keep a super wide turn here. Try to cut through the middle on the way back. Man, I definitely like that though. I like it pushing out like that. Alright, now for a super, super tight left turn to get turned around again. Yeah, that's better. I'm still going to do the same thing though, do figure eights throughout the middle, or circles perpendicular from what I was doing. Kind of like a Zamboni, you know? The Zamboni does a cut through the middle, and then does oblongs, or alternating circles, I guess. Yeah, I guess. I don't want to stop, but there's a couple rocks that keep getting caught and they're making huge grooves. And I know there's one stuck in the chain and where the chain meets the railroad. I don't know if I'll be able to get that one out of there. Favorite chore, picking rocks. I think these grow here better than taters. Basically our #1 crop. Taters and corn. Michigan's #1 crop, not mine. Lived in Florida for a long time. You could dig a hole for miles, not hit a damn rock. Not here. All right, so more picking rocks. Sorry, I'm just gonna speed everything up. You get the gist of it. You can see when it makes when I make a pass, there's no empty spots under the rail, that it's level, at least for that, you know, probably call it 15-foot swath because it's angled, it's not a full 20 feet. And it's working really good so far. So I'm gonna keep going. I'm actually gonna turn the camera off right now just because I'm on my last battery, it's at 70%. So hopefully this one can save for a little bit. I got a fresh one on the GoPro if I see anything. We'll catch you in a little bit. All right, everybody, so it's been a couple days, 3 or 4 days at least, since I drug this with that 20-foot chunk of rail, and it looks really, really good. This is a project I really need to get finished up. But I had to take a break. I had to work on the old Bronco. I had to work on the tractor. Had a cracked mount. If you haven't seen that video, it's going to be coming out or it's already out. And you know, I've been putting the tractor through a lot of stress, but I got to get this wood yard done now. And I've been trying to wrap up this video. I literally just wrapped up the video for fixing the front end and that cracked mount and all that. I haven't even turned the camera off. That's how I'm just trying to get things done here. But I got a little high spot in the middle of this wood yard out here, and I'll take you over there in a second. And there's a root stuck down in there somewhere, and that 20-foot rail just keeps bouncing over it. Overall though, it's really, really flat, and that rail, holy crap, it did a great job. I've already got the root ripper on the tractor. It's been warmed up already. I'm just gonna leave the camera running, probably do a little fast forward until I'm actually digging over here. Hopefully, since this stuff has been dug up for almost a month now, the roots kind of decayed a little bit. Maybe not decayed, but lost some of its grip in the ground, and it just pops right out. We'll see. And we'll finish flattening this area out and then do a closeout. Still picking up glass. Yep, chunks of TV. All right, now for those watching for the first time, how I use this thing, I go in 2, 3, 4 feet to the side of where I think the root goes. In this case, if it was at the base of a tree, you know, at least, you know, half the width of the thing away. I go about, that's too fast. I gotta slow it down a little bit here. I do put it in slow gear. I only go about half the width of the blade for the first pass. I can feel it grabbing and let go, grab and let go. Yep, definitely got some roots out of there. Probably going a little too slow. And I just hit a couple sides. I hit 3 of the 4 sides. To kind of break it loose. And then I dig it from the opposite of the cut side. Or opposite of the uncut side, sorry about that. If I had to guess, I'd guess that this is an elm, what's left of an elm, because they seem to be the biggest pain in the butt out of everything I'm doing. Well, got caught on something. I don't know if that was a root or a rock. And we got boulders around here too, and I mean boulders. I've dug up rocks 3-4 feet in diameter, and I know we've got bigger ones. I've got rocks in my rock garden that are 5-6 foot diameter. Yeah, all those little stringy roots there, that's, at least in my limited experience, that's indicative of an elm. But who knows? I don't remember what exactly was here a month ago. That side is definitely clear. And I try not to turn at all while this thing's stuck in the ground, because that'll put a twisting force on the blade and on the boom, the loader. And that's definitely something you need to avoid. End up with all the problems I've been having because of the grapple. All right, we'll try to sink this blade all the way down this time. Yep, it's something. It's weird that it stops me from going, but lifts right out. I'll try a different angle. Typically when I hit a pretty decent root, I start pulling up on it. I can feel it ripping at the root. These last two passes here where it stops me from going forward like that, but I'm not feeling it catch. And even there, I can tilt it right up, so I don't know what I'm hitting down there. I think it's probably loose. There it is. Yep, she's out. Yep, that was it. That's what was causing all that. You can see it does a great job at tearing this crap out though. Great job. Now I gotta level all this back out. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this mess cleaned up. I gotta get the rake on, the grapple on, and then I'll go clean this up. Once that's cleaned up, I'll take the rake back off and hook back up that rail, and we'll get this finished up. All right, just spent another half hour or so picking up last bit of stones and glass and roots and sticks and crap out of the wood yard. This should be my last few passes here with this rail. The root's gone, we saw that earlier, and I think we're gonna be done with this here in the next hour, so let's do it. I'm gonna start with the rail at a slight angle. This has been a very long and arduous task. One thing I am definitely noticing is that where my chains are hooked up, it's a catch point for roots and rocks and anything else, and then the dirt can't travel along the edge of the rail to even it out. So that would definitely be something I remedy before I do this again. On both sides it's doing it. I think I'm legitimately down to my last couple passes, another couple hundred rocks at least. I figured out picking up the pace a little bit. Third gear, I've been going in second gear, picking up a little bit. Once the big rocks are gone, which they basically are, just did my last pass. You can see the big grooves. That's from a rock getting caught under there, and I'm so sick of that. I just want a couple passes where that doesn't happen, but we're getting close. I really think that, 10 minutes more and we're done. So got the supervisor back out to make sure it gets done right, and we're off. All right, so I just got done doing right-hand circles, eccentric throughout the whole thing. So now I'm gonna do left-hand circles. Get it turned around here. And honestly, I think after that, I might do long circles once or twice, but I think it's good. I really do. It looks fantastic. It's very flat. Yeah, man, look at that drag. The whole bar, the whole beam is basically covered. One little spot, just picked up. Keep catching something there. I don't know if it's a root or a rock. If it's a rock, I'm gonna jump out and grab it. Yeah, I see a couple rocks there. Man, I'm getting tired of stopping for rocks. Tell you what, our rock garden's gonna get a whole lot bigger. I'm gonna call that good. So overall, this turned out amazing. Is it perfect? Nope. But it's doggone close. And it's not level, but it's flat. There is a little bit of a high section in the middle, a little bit of a low way in the back over there. But I'm okay with that. I drove through here earlier with the tractor going pretty fast just to see how bumpy it was, and it wasn't. So I'm really, really happy with this. The drag worked amazing. I wish I didn't have so many rocks. I mean, it almost looks like a gravel pit out here. Just everywhere. However, it is a usable wood yard now, a usable space. Super, super awesome. All right, so that's all I got for this video. Leveling, draft control doesn't work, whether leveling or flattening, whatever you want to call it. I'm not necessarily grading because I didn't actually put a grade. I just flattened it. And we're gonna get into another video about draft control. Again, my final thoughts on that. Still got a bunch of folks out there who are, fighting tooth and nail saying draft control works for this. I totally disagree. The whole way it functions is opposite of what you need for leveling and grading. But we'll get into that next time. All right, one last thing. I realize a lot of people don't have access to a 28-foot long chunk of railroad, but you can use pipes, steel stock, anything you want that's just long and flat. Add weight to it if you need to. I know a guy in town here, he grades or levels or flattens out his parking lot using a bunch of like 4 to 6 inch pipes that were cut in half and then chained together or something like that. Just made basically a land level out of them, and they work fantastic. Now that's just for, a parking lot that was already flat. It gets potholes and, to redistribute all the gravel and dirt, to flatten it back out. But something like that would probably work really well for this, especially without as many big rocks as I got in here. And if you're looking to figure out how to get a chunk of this railroad, call your local railroad company. I actually saw this sitting on the side of the railroad tracks. I called the company up and they sent a guy over, and That's how you can legally obtain a chunk of railroad. I'm not allowed to turn around and sell this, so you know, just keep that in mind. It's not like I can take this up to the scrap yard and scrap it out for scrap steel. Maybe if it was a small chunk they wouldn't care, but if you drag a big chunk like that in there, they're going to want to know where it came from and that kind of stuff, because that's personal property. So be careful if you do that. Make sure you legally obtain railroad. Don't just go and get it. And honestly, you can sometimes find it on Facebook or Craigslist or whatever, you know, marketplace. You know, people will be selling 8, 10, 12-foot chunks of it, or bigger, smaller, whatever. I actually have another chunk across the street at my at another property, and it's like 54 feet long, and it's a 115-pound rail. So every 3 feet, it's 115 pounds. It'd probably work better for this, but I have another plan for that later on, something I'll get into. Well, hopefully y'all got something out of this. I appreciate everybody checking in and watching. You know the drill with questions and comments. Keep yanking on them bootstraps, and we'll catch you on the next video.